Now that's collard greens done the ReyBae way. Look at that. Collard greens. I know you saw the thumbnail. In my opinion, it's one of the most respected, one of the most loved comfort foods that you could ever have. So today we're gonna go ahead and do our version, or rather the ReyBae version of this family Southern staple. So ingredients, we have some pork neck bone, some yellow onion. Of course, what would collard greens be without butter? This is European butter, by the way. Onion powder, Lawry seasoning salt, if you know, you know. Cajun seasoning, black pepper. We have some vegetable base, and of course, that's salt right here. Then we have some chicken base. That's another little cheat code of mine. Garlic, and of course, the star of the show, which is the collard greens. And with no further ado, let's go. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our meat. So the first thing we're gonna do is get this on the stove right away. Why? Because this is gonna be the longest process. This right here is 2 pounds of the pork neck bones. We're gonna get that in there and just put the lid on there. And this is gonna cook until it is fork tender. Next, we're gonna go ahead and chop up our onions and get that out of the way. Now, the collard greens, that bag that I had them in, that's, or the bag that it came in, that's a 2 pound bag, 32 ounces, so a 2 pound bag of collard greens. And this is one nice large onion. That's plenty for this right here. Now, if you like a little bit more onion, you're welcome to add a little bit more onion. So what we want to do, this is more of a rustic style chop. We're not worried about it being all cute and uniform. We just want to get it chopped up. So go right across, nice little rings. And that's what you want right there. Nice uniform cuts. That right there. All right, come on. So my pork neck bones have been cooking for 45 minutes, close to an hour. Now, remember what I was telling you earlier, you want to have it to it's fork tender, but in this case, we're using a spoon, so spoon tender. So let's cut the fire off for a second and move this off the heat. Too much smoke. All right, now if you look, you'll see that I'm able to cut this with a spoon. And that's what you want. Nice and tender, just like that. Now, see this in the bottom of the pot, that liquor? That's what my grandma used to call pot liquor. All right, so those onions that we cut, drop all that in there. That butter, we're gonna use, what is this? A tablespoon of butter, drop that in there. Get that a little stir. And then we got some garlic. We're gonna press this garlic out. Got a few garlic cloves here. Get all that in there. All right, let's put these other little bit more in there. So all together, I'm doing what, 5 garlic cloves. That should be good. You don't want too much garlic. We already got the savoriness from the onions too. Get all that out of there. All right. Now, and one other ingredient that I did not mention, we're gonna add some bay leaf as well. Listen, the aroma coming out this pot right now, listen. Oh my God. That thing right there smells like how grandma used to make and how mom used to make. All right, so bay leaf, we're gonna do just 1. You don't need a lot. Because we're just doing 1 bag of greens. We don't want it too strong. All right, now, my collard greens, I already washed them. I washed them with water and salt just to get all of the water and debris. I did this several times. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the collard greens in right now. Now with your collard greens, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have to let them cook down a little bit. So although this is a 2-pound bag, I'm gonna have to let it cook a little bit, then add a little bit more, let it cook a little bit, then add a little bit more. And then once I get them all in the pot and get it cooked down a little bit, then that's when I will season at the end with all of my seasonings. All right, let's let this cook down. We're gonna give this about maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 at best. Let it cook down a little bit, then we're gonna add the rest. All right, let's go and check this out. Beautiful. So remember all those greens that we had down in there and it looked like it was too much in the pot? See how it's cooked down some? So let's add the next portion of it. And you're gonna repeat this until you got all of the greens in the pot. And like I said, last, you're gonna season up the pot. So don't worry about stirring it and doing all that right now. Just put the lid on there. And we're gonna do that until we got the rest of this in there. All right, so now my greens are all down in the pot. I finished getting them all down in there. So next thing we wanna do is go ahead and we're gonna season our pot. So this right here is the most important part. This sets the tone for what we're doing. So remember, it's the holiday time. You gotta make it good, you gotta make it luscious, make it delicious, you know, because guess what? Everybody gonna be asking, who made the greens? Then you can tell them, if ReyBae made them greens or taught me how to make them greens, I know they fine. All right, so next, I'm gonna go ahead and start seasoning up our greens. First thing we wanna do, we wanna taste and see where we at with the seasoning. All right, so that meat gave us a lot of flavor, but it's important when you're seasoning, you wanna make sure your greens have body to them. So a little vegetable base. This particular brand right here definitely has a lot of flavor, a lot of body to it. But keep in mind, when you use the vegetable one, it is pretty potent. So you don't need a lot, just a little hit. And what I like to do is I like to add a little chicken to mine too. Just a little of this chicken base. Because you don't want it to taste like chicken. You just want to give it that little body. Have a well-rounded flavor. Get that in there. Let's turn this heat down some. Then next, onion powder. Yes, we have fresh onion now, but we're gonna use the onion powder, of course. Then black pepper. All right, then I like to do a little Cajun. This is a preference thing, but Cajun seasoning gives you a little heat to your greens. Now let's give it a stir. See all that meat coming through? That's what you want. You want it nice and meaty, your greens. All right, let's taste these before we add any of the seasoning and just see where we at. Taste the pot liquor. Beautiful. So one thing that I like to do to my greens is I add a little bit of sugar. I will not be using all of this, just as a disclosure, okay? Just a pinch of this, all right? And then I also do a little vinegar, a little apple cider vinegar won't hurt. It will not hurt it at all. So the reason why I do the sugar, if you ever try someone else's greens and you might say they're bitter, or some people might say they're really earthy, that's because why? Well, it comes from the ground, of course. So a way to bring down that really earthy or bitter taste, add a little sugar, just a pinch of sugar will help bring it down. You don't want to be just adding sugar because they're going to get sweet. So you just want to add just a little pinch of that sugar and some vinegar, okay? So what I normally do with my greens, I just go with a cap of it. So all you need, you're gonna let that cook down a little bit. And then the sugar, like I told you, you're just going for a pinch. And that's gonna help bring down that earthy taste. Get that a stir. And while you're waiting on these to cook down, go ahead and put that lid on, like I told you. Let's drop that heat on there and let the good times roll, baby. All right, we good. We'll check this about 10 minutes maybe at best. Put the lid on it, allow it just to go ahead and just simmer. You don't have to do it fast. I would say put your fire on like medium heat or just a little under it. Let it take its time. You want to just cook those greens to the nice and tender, because remember, we did it in intervals when we was putting the greens in. So you want to allow the ones that went in at the end chance to get nice and tender. So after that, just let it cook to its tender, and then we're ready for the plate up. Now, this is the finished product. Come check it out. So this is what we're working with right here. This is our greens. They cook down. You got all that meat inside, and that's what you want. You know, it's the holidays. You want to make sure everybody eating good. You want to make sure they're nice and festive, because I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, I'm not watching no diet during the holiday. I'm about to get it in on these greens. So that's what you want right there. Nice and meaty. Let's go. Forget about talking. Let's plate this thing. Oh my God, look at that. Now, oh yeah, what would collard greens be without homemade cornbread? Now we got collard greens. Now that's collard greens done the ReyBae way. Look at that. Now me, I like mine with a lot of juice because I like to have that pot liquor. That's a preference thing. Delicious. So before we go any further, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this food we're about to receive. I actually bless this food, Father, sanctify, make it good for our bodies. In the name of Jesus we pray. Amen. Now, let's get into that. That's what you want right now. That's collard greens. The flavor's sticking too. And a little crystal hot sauce. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, share it, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And don't forget, notification bell, make sure you ring it. So every time I drop a video, you will receive each and every one of them, okay? Until next time.